Hello everyone, it's DiegoDoom here. Today I'm bringing you another review. Today I'll be reviewing Super Robot Chogokin Mazinkaiser SKL Renewal version. Mazinkaiser SKL comes from the 2011 OVA Mazinkaiser SKL. In the distant future, three armies battle to control an island known as Machine Island. To contain the warring armies, a gravity curtain surrounds Machine Island. Only machines created by the world government can enter the gravity curtain. WSO learns the gravity curtain has become unstable and will explode in 66 hours. If the gravity curtain explodes, the explosion will not only destroy Machine Island, but also the world. The WSO send in the Skull Force to battle each army and gather the necessary parts to stabilize the gravity curtain. The main part of the Skull Force is the two-man Death Capri Squad consisting of Blade user Ken Kaido and Gunmaster Ryo Megami. Ken and Ryo pilot the ultimate robot known as Mazinkaiser SKL. Now, with the help of the last member of the second half of the Skull Force, Ken and Ryo must battle the armies within the gravity curtain to stabilize it and save the world. Be sure to check out the 2011 OVA Mazinkaiser SKL. It is absolutely fantastic. Super Robot Chogokin Mazinkaiser SKL Renewal version is another fantastic release in the Super Robot Chogokin line. Mazinkaiser SKL has a fantastic sculpt, fantastic paint applications, fantastic accessories, and a fantastic range of articulation. First, let's start with the accessories. Mazinkaiser SKL comes with two pairs of hands, two breast trigger barrels, one Gunzanto sword, one accessory stand piece, and one cape. First, let's check out the hands. Mazinkaiser SKL comes with a pair of open hands and a pair of breast trigger holding hands. Both pairs of hands have a fantastic robotic sculpt with glossy black and gold paint apps. Both pairs of hands attach via the ball joint peg system. When removing the hands, hold close to the wrist joint so the pressure is on the hand and not the wrist joint itself. Once remove the fists, attach the desired pair of hands to match your favorite dynamic pose. Next, we have the two breast trigger barrels. These barrels are used to complete the breast triggers, so first, let's set up the breast triggers. First, remove the skull from the center of the chest. Removing the skull from the center of the chest can be a little bit tough at first, so be careful. Once you remove the skull from the chest, remove the breast trigger handles and separate them from the combined barrel they're pegged into. Now, insert the handles into the barrels and that's it. The breast triggers have a fantastic sharp sculpt with vibrant red and black paint apps for the handles. The barrels have a nice gunmetal paint app and the bayonets have a metallic silver paint app. The breast triggers can be a little bit difficult to place into the holding hands, but once they're in, they're held very firmly. With the breast triggers in hand, Mazinkaiser SKL can now gun down his foes. Next, we have the Gunzanto sword. The Gunzanto sword has a fantastic sharp sculpt with metallic gold spikes and a metallic silver blade. The nicely detailed handle can extend to different lengths. The Gunzanto sword is held very firmly by the holding hands. Now, with the Gunzanto sword in hand, Mazinkaiser SKL can now cut down his foes. Next, we have the accessory stand piece. To attach, peg the accessory stand piece into the slot located in the lower waist, and that's it. Since Mazinkaiser SKL is fairly heavy, it's not really easy to put him into jumping poses even with the help of the accessory stand piece. In Mazinkaiser SKL's instance, the accessory stand piece acts as more of a support for more dynamic poses. Finally, we have the cape. The cape comes in two pieces, a front piece and a back piece. The cape has a very nice tattered sculpt with weathered tan paint apps. Both pieces of the cape have some nice articulation. When moving the cape, be mindful of the joint. The joints used on the cape seem to be a little bit stiff, which tells me if you put too much pressure on them, they could break, so do handle them with care. To attach the cape, first combine the two cape pieces. Next, remove Mazinkaiser SKL's head. Place the cape over Mazinkaiser SKL's body. Make sure to move the front cape pieces to the side so they fall behind the breast triggers. Finally, secure the cape by pressing in the peg to the universal crossover joint on Mazinkaiser Skull's back. Next, reattach Mazinkaiser Skull's head, and that's it. Now, Mazinkaiser Skull has a very cool menacing cape, ready to take down both the Kiba and Garen armies. Now, if you're creative and have been collecting the Super Robot Chogokin line, you can take advantage of the universal crossover joint system and give Mazinkaiser Skull some very cool upgrades. Now that we have the accessories out of the way, let's take a look at the Mazinkaiser Skull figure itself. Mazinkaiser Skull has a fantastic range of articulation. First, let's start with the head. We can look up, down, left, right. The shoulders have a nice range of rotation. Also in the shoulders is a very special joint that allows us to pull the shoulders very far forward, giving us the ability to have Mazinkaiser Skull reach across his chest. The shoulders can rotate a full 360 degrees. The shoulder pads are articulated. The arms can come up higher than 90 degrees. We have very nice double jointed ratcheting elbows. There's also a swivel in the elbows. The hands are on ball joints. We can tilt and spin these freely. Moving on to the chest, the breast trigger handles are articulated so we can have these move out of the way in case we want to have Mazinkaiser Skull cross his arms. For the upper chest itself, we can lean forwards, backwards, twist side to side, and lean side to side. Also in the upper chest, we can pull upwards on it, and that gives us a better range of motion in the upper chest. So now we can lean further forwards and further backwards, which is definitely very cool. Moving down to the waist, we can lean forwards, backwards, twist side to side, and lean side to side. The lower waist has the same gimmick as the upper chest. If we pull upwards here on the waist, we can now lean even further forwards and further backwards, which is definitely very cool. The legs can kick forward this much. They can kick backwards this much and come out to the side this much. We have an upper thigh swivel. We have very nice double jointed ratcheting knees. The feet can tilt and swivel. If you pull down on the ankle joint here, we can increase the range of motion in the feet significantly, which is definitely very cool. When it comes to sculpt and paint apps, Mazinkaiser Skull is absolutely fantastic. Starting from the top, we have the Skull Piloter. The Skull Piloter has a very nicely detailed sculpt with a nice bone color paint app. Mazinkaiser Skull's horns are nice and sharp with a nice metallic gold paint app. In the center of the head, we have a very nice red accent. The eyes have a very nice metallic sky blue paint app. The grill is very nicely detailed with some very nice gunmetal paint apps. Moving down to the chest, we have the breast triggers in their combined state. The skull in the center of the chest has a nice metallic gold paint app. Behind the breast triggers, the chest has a nice gold accent. The rest of the chest and arms have a nice glossy black paint app. At the top of the shoulders, we have the very sharp, light gunmetal shoulder spikes. The turbine spikes in the forearms have a nice red paint app. The waist, bicep, and thighs have a nice light gunmetal paint app. The rest of Mazinkaiser Skull's body has a very nicely detailed robotic sculpt with glossy black and metallic gold accents. As a whole, the renewal version of Mazinkaiser Skull turned out to be fantastic. To get more of appreciation of this figure, let's compare him with the first release of Mazinkaiser Skull. The renewal version of Mazinkaiser Skull is a large improvement over our first release of Mazinkaiser Skull. One of the first things you'll notice, the renewal version stands significantly taller than the original. The renewal version of Mazinkaiser Skull is roughly over 7 inches tall, while the original Mazinkaiser Skull is 6 inches tall. When it comes to sculpt and paint apps, the figures differ slightly. The head sculpt on the renewal version seems to have slightly more detail than the original. The renewal version's eyes are more angular. Underneath the eyes there are some extra mechanical details, and the grille is also more angular than the original. For paint apps, the renewal version's horns are more of a darker gold, the eyes have a smoother gradated sky blue paint app, the grille has a darker gunmetal paint app, and the head has a slightly darker metallic silver paint app. Moving down to the chest, the skull in the center of the breast triggers has a significantly better sculpt than the skull on the original. The paint apps on the breast triggers on the renewal version is a very nice vibrant red. On the original, the breast triggers have a very nice metallic red paint app, which in my opinion looks a lot better. On the original Mazinkaiser skull, the shoulder spikes and inner limbs consisting of the biceps, waist, and thighs have a very nice dark gunmetal paint app. On the renewal version, the shoulder spikes and inner limbs have a lighter gunmetal paint app. Now, even though the renewal version seems to be better than the original Mazinkaiser skull still has two things over the renewal version. The original Mazinkaiser skull can hold his breast triggers in axe mode, while it seems the renewal version cannot. Also, the original version can store the Ganzanto sword on its back, while the renewal version cannot. As a whole, the renewal version of Mazinkaiser skull is a great improvement over the original release. Larger size, a more refined sculpt, better articulation, and an affordable price makes Mazinkaiser Skull Renewal version an absolute must-buy. Now, let's do some size comparisons. To conclude the review, Super Robot Chogokin Mazinkaiser Skull Renewal version is another fantastic release in the Super Robot Chogokin line. Mazinkaiser Skull has a fantastic sculpt, fantastic paint applications, fantastic accessories, and a fantastic range of articulation. This figure is definitely very nice, very neat, and very cool. I absolutely recommend that everyone picks this figure up. Also, be sure to check out the 2011 OVA Mazinkaiser Skull. It is absolutely fantastic. This has been another review by DiegoDoom. Thank you very much for watching, and please stay tuned for more figure reviews. Check out the Facebook fan page and also follow me on Instagram. Like, comment, and subscribe.